What's going on, everyone? This is Matt and welcome to GEEK Syndrome Gaming. Today we're going to review Returnal, and at the end of this video we're going to reward it with a buy or a pass. And I'll also break down some of the things I think you'll enjoy and some of the things I think you'll hate about the game. Returnal is a high-budget roguelike, PlayStation exclusive. It was developed by Housemarque, and you may have played some of their games in the past, like Alien Nation, Dead Nation, or Resogun. So they have been making PlayStation exclusives for a really long time. Returnal puts you in the shoes of one Celine, a deep space astro scout that crash landed on the uncharted planet Atropos. The very moment you step out of the ship, and I mean the very moment, you notice that there is something very wrong and disturbing about the planet, and you find a dead body. Shocker, that's Celine's dead body, and it's one of many that you'll encounter as you progress through the intriguing and challenging game. For some unknown reason, Celine's caught in a death loop. Every time you die, and you'll die a lot, you're transported back to the crash site. The story is delivered in a very interesting and intriguing way. You find scout logs that you loot off the corpses of Celine's dead bodies, the Celines that failed to break the loop. These and her observations are used to piece the story together, and it works really well. You also find fragments of her past scattered throughout Atropos, like her childhood house, which that was really cool too. And this kind of gives you a glimpse into the alien power that she has to combat, and how it's pushing her to the brink. It forces you to ask some questions, like how many times has Celine died? At this point, is this even Celine, or is she just some copy of herself? Returnal is a test of skill, will, and your blood pressure. And it isn't for the faint of heart. I had moments of extreme frustration, really extreme frustration, and moments of extreme jubilation, especially after killing one of those bosses. You start each cycle with your standard pistol, and as you traverse each area, you find upgrades, augments, and newer weapons that help you deal with the enemies of Atropos. You also find malignant upgrades. They provide you with a bonus as well as a random malfunction. In my opinion, that needs to be reworked, right? Because often the risk far outweigh the reward. As you find new weapons and use them to dispatch the enemies, you gain proficiency. This unlocks new trades that increase things like blast radius, damage, and projectile speed. The combat is exhilarating, and it's really fast paced, and the game keeps the pressure up. Each gun you grab has a different feel to it. Slower or faster reload speeds, damage output, effects and effects area, everything's different. One of my favorite weapons allows you to create like a net that deals constant damage to the enemies in a specific area. The DualSense controller really shines in this game. From the sounds you hear when picking up an item to how the triggers feel when you switch into the alternate fire mode. The DualSense really helps with the immersion of getting into this game. You know, one thing I really liked a lot is that some areas it's raining, you can actually feel the rain hitting you by how the haptic feedback responds to it. So that's really dope. Now, once again, in Returnal, you will die a lot. And when you die, you lose things like artifacts and currency. But you do keep your weapon traits and other items that help you traverse around Atropos. Some runs seem a lot easier than others, but that is just how roguelikes work, right? It requires a lot of skill, and it also requires a lot of luck to be successful. Each enemy you encounter has a different attack pattern that you must quickly adjust to. There's a good mix of enemy variety, and I believe it's just enough to keep things interesting. Some are your standard cannon fodder, right? And you can memorize their patterns real easily. Others feel you will like dread the minute that they pop up on the screen and provide a very, very tough challenge. Once again, the bosses are tough. They have varying attack patterns, they inflict an extreme amount of damage, and have massive amounts of health. The number of attacks that they can output at once can feel really overwhelming, and these encounters feel like a level in a bullet hell shooter. Graphically, this game is impressive. At times, it feels like a very stressful Technicolor light show. I found myself getting stuck like a deer in their headlights, just getting caught up in the lights. Developers put a lot of love and care into the character models and the world design. There are 6 biomes in the game, and they all have a different feel from one another. You go from a deep jungle to a sprawling wasteland, even into a frozen tundra. Each area feels like an entirely different world. Even with it being a roguelike, I really dislike the fact that there's no quick save option. Some runs can last 3 or more hours, not so bad if you got a day off or some dedicated time to enjoy the game, but at the time of this review, the only way to save a game is by putting the PS5 in rest mode. So if you got a buddy that wants to play a co-op game, you have to sacrifice your run and potentially lose a lot of progress. Say if you have to run to the store or do something like that, and you put it in rest mode, there's a chance all your progress will be lost when you start the game up again. And if there's a patch, and if your PS5 is set to automatically update in rest mode, you will lose your progress that way as well. There are also some bugs that pop up from time to time that prevent you from progressing forward. I had to restart a run that lasted roughly 2 hours because the bug prevented me from opening a door. So here at GEEK Syndrome, we're going to recommend that you buy Returnal. What we'll think you'll like is the exhilarating combat, the interesting story, and the overall atmosphere of the game. Now, you should pass or wait if any of these things I'm about to talk about concern you, which is the lack of save features, bugs, and the challenging difficulty. Personally, I didn't find the difficulty to be overly oppressive, not like Dark Souls or some of the other games that are out there, but it does provide a lot of challenge. And if that does concern you, you may want to pass or wait on this game. So guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to listen to our podcast at GEEK Syndrome that drops every Friday, and be on the lookout for new videos like this in the future. Catch you guys later.